guys, welcome back to University. Welcome back to the podcast. And yes, we're very excited to do this again. Hosted by myself and Dan. Just first, we want to say thank you very much for all of your kind words and stuff regarding episode 1. We've absolutely loved seeing all the comments, and they've been very nice to see as well. How's your week been, Dan?
Pretty kind of just this nice, simple week, I think. I've been to Blackpool a few times. Get some of that ski air in, I guess. That's been nice. What about you, Jono? How's your week been?
It's been simple, just dead simple. I think the only exciting thing actually was Prime Minister's questions on Wednesdays. That's how bad it's got for me.
You're that bored?
Yeah, the fact I just wait for 12 o'clock on Wednesday every single time for Prime Minister's questions to come on is just a show of how boring things have now got.
Anything interesting?
Nah, same old. Anyway, guys, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the future of theatre, and I'm really, really excited to welcome Shannon to the podcast today.
Hey.
There she is. That long pause made me think, oh God, has her audio gone off again? Where's it all going? But yeah, Shannon, we know Shannon from university. She is on a separate performance course to ours, but she's part of the same directorate, part of the same school. Can I say she graduated like us? Because technically we've not all officially graduated yet, have we?
No.
So
still waiting around.
so we're still waiting for that to happen. But we've all finished university now. To start us off, the current situation regarding theatres and stuff like that is just unbelievable. I never in a million years did I think anyone who's involved in the theatre industry think we would get to this stage where the majority of UK theatres and music venues are facing permanent shutdown because of obviously the lack of funding over COVID-19. Because I remember reading, I think last week, The Guardian was saying that about 70% of theatres and half of all music venues face permanent closure as a result of the coronavirus crisis. So just to really start us off, guys, how badly has this affected theatre, and how has it affected your kind of prospects, leaving university and what you wanted the future to bring, but now evidently, how has it changed as a result of the pandemic?
Oh, I am just sort of clueless on. I had this sort of image of what I wanted to do and how I could achieve it, and things like that. Because I went to do TV acting. So I had this. So I was doing my driving. I wanted to get my driving complete just before uni's finished. So obviously I could go to auditions and things like that if they needed me to go. But obviously Corona's just happened, and I don't know. This sort of, I know perfect image and always going to happen, but I just feel a bit stuck. And I know people feel stuck when they finish uni and things anyway, but I just feel more so now that we can't exactly do anything about it, if that makes sense.
It's odd territory, isn't it? Because never have we ever sort of, in our 20 odd years of being here, I've ever seen anything as daunting as this. Everywhere that people could be gathered together, everywhere where public spaces can be filled, whether that be football stadiums, religious places, obviously venues for concerts and things. It's going to be very odd to see how it restarts. And I don't think any of us know, especially the people who run those places, have any idea as to when or how things will go back to normal again. For some places, it won't be normal again. It's very, very odd, to state the obvious.
It is very, very odd, isn't it? I mean, I think for you, Shannon, because obviously you did a performance degree that was kind of focused on media and stuff like that. You did video projects, that kind of thing. You're in a better position, as it were, because the TV and film industry is still going to go on. It still lives on because they've still been able to get episodes out there. And as we do this podcast right now, all the soaps are starting to resume filming, be it in a obviously very different environment. So certainly I think we can all agree that your kind of opportunities might be a little bit better than, say, for those who wanted to start out in the theatre.
100%, yeah.
So, yeah, the TV and film industry, I think they will survive. I think that much is certain because they've got all this wealth of money. You know, everything is on TV nowadays. You know, you see Netflix, you know, the rise of Prime Video and all that kind of stuff. But then people who have done a theatre and performance degree or something like that, you know, something invested in theatre, they're certainly looking at a future where they need to almost train themselves again in front of a camera. So, yeah, I mean...
I agree on that.
So how much, I mean... Have you been given opportunities to find an agent or anything like that? What are your kind of hopes now that you've left university?
Obviously, now that I've left university, what I first want to do is complete my driving. So if I do join an agency and they suddenly call me for like 5 a.m, I can get there. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what my next steps are. But obviously, for like theatre people that absolutely love doing theatre and things, I do love it myself as well. But there's a theatre nearby me, and obviously they was running low on funds before this happened, and I absolutely loved going there, watching like little celebrities coming in and or just general shows. And you know, if they go downhill, it's going to be quite sad to see that go, really, because it was a nice little community. And you know, when you do go, I went every few months with my grandma because me and my grandma enjoy it, and sometimes mum will come and things like that. And you see those sort of regulars that come and watch it with you, and it's just that nice sort of vibe to it. And you know, it's sad knowing that many theatres surrounding there as well could go downhill.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it's been weird because theatre, like live theatre watching things, obviously the sales and things have been absolutely sort of it's been kind of daunting watching it because like obviously streaming and things like that are so prevalent now, and like obviously during the coronavirus sort of pandemic there's been a lot of theatre streamed on YouTube and things like that. And that, I think, unfortunately, because of all of this, that could be, well, not unfortunately, but that could be the future for live theatre. I guess it's like how court cases can get live streamed now. Everything, we want to be up to date with things. It could be that maybe pay-per-views and things like that could be the new thing. But that is a shame because you obviously go into theatre with your grandma, going to live theatre, especially with people you love and people you're close to. There's nothing really that comes close to it. For me, anyway, I don't know about what you guys think, but that's kind of, it is kind of sad. It is.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, the live theatre is so unique, obviously, isn't it? There's so many different kind of types of live theatre that we go and see. Probably one of the biggest exhibitions that I've been a part of for live theatre has been the Edinburgh Fringe. You know, I've had the honour of going to that twice and performing in that. That's probably one of the most famous festivals in the entire world. But to consider the possibility that the Fringe might not even be around next year because there just might not be any point to it because all these venues and stuff like that, all these theatre companies just won't have the funding. They won't have anything. They won't have had anywhere to rehearse. And also, I think it's actually been a really rough couple of years, hasn't it, for theatre, if we think about it? Because I'm going all the way back to Brexit now, when we had the referendum in 2016. Bearing in mind, that was nearly 4 years ago. But I remember there being a lot of arguments being made for the Remain campaign. If we chose to leave Europe, even with a deal, the arts would still lose about £40 million in terms of its funding. So even then, you know, theatre was still going to be in a horrible state of having a lot of its investment taken away from it. And now the government won't even have the money after this to even put into theatre. It faces the real possibility that the industry as we know it will be completely wiped out. But at the same time, to bring this kind of conversation into a more positive light, I feel like there will be a massive opportunity for our generation to kind of rebuild it.
Yeah,
But
100%.
there's a massive opportunity for us to rebuild it, but in a more dynamic way. This is the chance for theatre to evolve a little bit further. I don't know what you guys feel about that.
No, I agree with you on that. I feel like, I mean, I don't know what would change. Like, in obviously, I can't think of that on the spot. But you know, like, sorry, I'm just thinking. Then, like, it's just so weird to just think that there's that, like you said, the possibility of that changing and sort of not having that experience anymore of being in that big massive theatre with loads of people watching, you know, and from that whole unique experience. It's so odd to think that. I mean, it could change for the better. We never know that, but
yeah, it's hard to put it into words, isn't it? You know, just thinking about
yeah.
something that we've all trained in, you know, we've all gone and seen for a very long time. It's really hard to think that we're going to be without live theatre, because I remember probably the best kind of live theatre I've gone and seen has been in the last year or so, because I think Mark Gatiss was in The Madness of King George the Sixth, I think it was, and that's been live streamed on the National Theatre YouTube channel in the last few weeks even. But I actually went to see that live because that was at Nottingham Playhouse, and it was one of the best productions I had ever seen, and I was so lucky to see that live. And it was the buzz that I got from that. And then I saw something a few months later called Enemy of the People, and then Enemy of the People, I think that was with Alex Kingston, I think, from Doctor Who. But yeah, I mean, it's hard just even thinking about it to put into words the hole that theatre leaves us with if it does eventually go out. Because obviously initially I kind of put, I suppose, all my eggs into that industry because that's where I wanted to go for a career.
Yeah.
But I think the most beautiful thing about all of our courses is that it's taught us transferable skills to take into alternative industries.
Yeah.
So starting with you, Dan, maybe, what do you think that our course has taught you in terms of a transferable skill that you might take into alternative industries if you choose not to go down and push for the acting path?
I think one of the main things I studied in third year was new trends and trends in theatre, new layers that we can put onto original sort of tropes in theatre. And the thing you sort of realise is that theatre's always had to adapt. When censorship comes in, allegory gets portrayed. When streaming sites get shut down, like YouTube and I'm trying to think, like now live streaming places pop up in prominence, there will always be a new platform for any art form. I think for recently, the only thing I can think of music-wise is like Radiohead have been constantly streaming live gigs that they've done over the last sort of quarter century, and they are using that platform, using their old performances, using things that had already been filmed as a way of raising funds or raising awareness for whatever it is they're doing. Creatives always find a new path, and sometimes it's because of exceeding circumstances or harsh things, or it could be because they find one platform boring or they find live theatre boring or something. People will always find new paths, and with this going on, the only thing I can say positively is that theatre will carry on, and there is nothing anyone can do. It's one of the world's oldest, if not the oldest art form, the sport and thing. It's kind of I don't know, that's basically it. We'll always find a new path, always.
You got anything to add to that, Shannon?
No, I completely agree with everything that you've said in there. You basically took the words out of my mouth with that one.
No, because what you were saying was right, because it's that personal feeling of being at the theatre is something very different. It's like going to the cinema with someone. I can't remember the last time I went to the cinema by myself. It's a collective thing. It's watching something live, whether it be pre-recorded or something like live with people, is so, I don't know, it's a lot warmer when you're with people. And Shannon, you're right, as you were saying, it's an odd prospect when a lot of the stuff will be filmed and stuff and put onto platforms, whether that be TV and things. And that might be something that you'd love to do, because obviously you did the theatre, the sort of a media and performance degree rather than a live theatre thing. But that might be something that might be a cool opportunity for you, because you might be able to combine the two and create something fantastic. It's completely up to us, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of creative ways that you can sort of, keep theatre in, and even whether it's through like a media form, through like camera work and stuff, to sort of keep that theatre vibe, if you get what I mean. Still, like you say, it is like one of the oldest forms, and if it was to change, it'd be weird to see it change, because it's always had that sort of, audience, watching someone on a stage. It's always been like that, whether it
I mean, because you chose to do a media and performance degree, I'm actually interested, like, because when you probably came to that open day, you were presented with theatre, media, and comedy writing, performance. What actually drew you more to media? What drew you to media as opposed to the theatre? Because I know every so often, when we were doing our various courses, there were moments where we all studied the same module, but then we eventually broke off to do separate things. So how do you think media and performance was better served for you going into the future?
Okay, so I did like performing arts, so it was mainly like a bit of dance, a bit of singing, a bit of stage, mainly in college. But I've always seen myself wanting to do TV acting anyway. But when I started like jumping through that progress of going through to uni and things, I could see like different ways I can make a pathway from, if that makes sense. So I could, if with media and performance, you do a tiny bit of like theatre work, especially in first year you do, and then obviously progressing on like second year, third year, it's mainly media based. Like it gave me a wide opportunity to get my hands on every, what's the word? Like can't think of any words now. No, it basically gave me an opportunity to get grips with all different kinds of performing. So there's the media there, there's the theatre there, and there's the TV acting itself. So if one thing didn't go too well for me, I could try the other one. So like I tried a bit of directing in my last year. I want to do acting mainly, but like I could do a bit of directing. Camera work, not too great on, I found, but that's something I can still try to learn on. I've had my hands on it now. I've learned from other people. But yeah.
What would you prefer to be sort of, I guess you sort of answered it a bit, but like overall, do you prefer to be in front of the camera or behind it?
Definitely in front of it.
Cool.
Yeah. Good old TV acting.
Screen acting is sort of, I'm guessing, your main, sort of your forte, I guess. Is that what you really do? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really Jono, you ever expressed any interest in doing any of that stuff?
I think, Daniel, you'll know this more than anyone, but I kind of started to move away from pursuing acting as a career while I was doing my dissertation. I think I mentioned this last week, actually.
Yeah.
But certainly while I was doing my dissertation, I was in the midst of the research kind of stage. I was so heavily invested in it that I actually started to realize, I kind of had a bit of an epiphany, really, that this was where I wanted to be. I wanted to be on the kind of research side of everything, be it, how they've got researchers for like TV programs and films and everything like that. I started to realize, as much as I loved doing the practical side of acting, I didn't want to go into it with like, I didn't want to put all my eggs in that basket. I'd love to keep it going on the side as like a hobby, but it wasn't something I was at this point now willing to go into as a career, because I kind of wanted to see myself have a safe income and stuff like that. And that was kind of my reasons behind it. But also just because I was really enjoying the theoretical side, I just threw myself into that. So I really, put my head down, my dissertation, got that done. But I was still really eager before all of this happened to have one last, hurrah with the theatre project. And I was really looking forward to getting my teeth into that. But yeah, I was certainly edging away from the acting industry itself, particularly when all this went down. How about you, Dan? Because I know, following your social media, you do a lot of music covers, don't you? You do a lot of musical covers and stuff like that. So is acting still something you want to go into, or are you so heavily invested now in music that you don't want to give that up?
Just a quick plug at Dan Healiss for all your favourite covers, the best covers in the world. No, basically, I don't know. What I've tried to do with postgrad courses and things is the only 3 that I've applied for are all music based. So yes, I will admit I would like to go back into the music side of it, but that's not. That doesn't mean I want to quit theatre. I want to do them both. If I want to try to anyway, it'd be a dream come true if it did. But my ideal thing I want to do is gig theatre, and gig theatre, like obviously combining the two, making daft shows with music in it, live music, with a theatre company, or by yourself. It just depends how you want to play it. If I'm looking at my future prospects, I'd say I don't ever want to give up acting. It's been one of the only things that sort of made me happy, especially when I was young. I felt obviously a lot of theatre kids, Shannon, you might also sort of agree with this. I never fit into sport. I never fit into literature. I never fit into doing maths. I was awful at maths.
So
yeah, exactly.
Same.
The only thing that I felt at home or comfortable with, regardless of like other things, it was doing drama and just like performing and enjoying myself. And I always think that the thing that will make you the happiest is doing something that you love. And yeah, so the idea being is that I'd like to just mess about with music and things like that, get people seeing things, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent towards them. But just another string to my bow, basically. Is, I guess, the only thing we can do. Like you with being able to research, and like obviously you can go into so many different jobs doing that. So many.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, I think the thing we've all got in common here is that we all love performing. We all love performing. We all have from a very young age, which makes the situation, obviously, that we're in even harder. The funny thing is, I'm just looking now at my top shelf, and I'm looking at all of the DVDs that I have of when I used to perform when I was younger. And I think the oldest DVD that I have is from 2005.
Wow.
I'm looking at this DVD from 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, you name it. I've got loads of DVDs of when I was younger. And if people are lucky at some point in their lives, I may or may not release it I may or may not release it to the general public at some point, but as some of you, my friends, you might see it on various social media channels if I choose to let you see them. But
I'm going to keep you all informed.
I'll keep you all informed on that. But yeah, I mean, because we've all loved it so much and we're all invested in it in some way, it makes it so much harder for us to kind of let this go. But Dan, I mean, I didn't realize that you were actually applying for postgrad courses, but
yeah,
I mean, because we're talking about the future.
Yeah.
Because I'm presuming you applied to go into postgrad courses. Excuse me, for the academic year that would have been starting this September.
Yes.
Yeah. So, obviously, with the situation at the moment, how has that affected your thing? Because I remember reading somewhere that it was either you or I think undergrads who were going into university this September as well. I think you guys have to make a decision by next week or something like that.
Yeah, it is next week. The only thing really that's affected it is the application process. It's very, I don't know, they've given you, with some places, they've given you more time, but with other places like conservatoires, like the RNCM and Guildhall and things like that, they give you less time to apply. I think the idea being is that when September hits, everything will be, for anyone who can't see any video, quote unquote, back to normal. So the actual thing is that they don't know what's going to happen in the next few months, but they're saying that by September, the application process and everything of getting you into a conservatoire or a university will just be back to normal. It'll be regular. I think it's easier because the people who are the class of 2020, going through sixth form and high school, they want to make it as kind and as sort of as easy for them as they can, because obviously their entire education process has been disrupted. So it's the same for us for postgrad things. They're very relaxed on the application process in some places. It's been very odd planning for the future when our entire world's been put upside down. Shannon, I'm sure you've felt that. I'm guessing, Shannon, are you in third year, same as us? I think you are.
Yes, yeah.
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 Like, obviously, with all that going on, have you expressed any interest in going into like a postgrad course or what or going into straight to the industry?
So, well, I think I was sort of prepared for myself to try and go straight into the industry by now. But I sort of had this sort of playing on my mind, oh no, what do I do? What if I can't do anything? Like, I might have to just go straight into a graduate course, try just keep in education, because obviously that's all we've ever known. Because obviously I'm assuming you've gone straight from college to university and so on. And it's quite scary, really, isn't it? But I just wanted to push myself and just get out there and just do it rather than I mean, I'm not saying everyone else is delaying it. If they want to carry on learning and things like that, it's fair enough, but for me, I feel like I was just delaying it if I carried on. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Absolutely.
It's I keep saying the word, it's unprecedented. And depending on what you want to go into, obviously there will be people putting out more opportunities and things like that, but it's kind of, I don't know, I don't even have the words for it. It's very translucent, I'll say. It feels like if this hadn't have happened, there would have been more it would have been a more cut and dry. It would have been easier. It would have been, right, okay, I'll get an agent, I'll speak to someone else, I'll do showcases, I'll go for auditions, things like that. In actual fact, it probably wouldn't have been as that. It wouldn't have been as clear at all. It would, looking at it from them, we might think, oh, of course, right, we go straight into the industry, this, that, and the other. No, you got to do proper headshots. You got to get a voice reel. You got to get a show reel. You've got to try and find agency representation. And unless you've done a showcase or you're in something that you can invite agents to, it's very hard to, it's not hard to apply, but it's very hard to get attention from agencies because everyone at this time will be looking for representation. I think, what's the old adage? 99% of us are at work all the time. So that's part of the reason why I've tried to do a Masters of Music at places. It's just to add another string to my bow and to keep me doing stuff for the next 2 years when otherwise I would be working somewhere else and be unemployed as an actor. That's kind of the reason why I've done that. Jono, what is it you want to do? Like obviously you were talking about being like a researcher. Have you got any jobs in mind? Have you got any like things that would you want to do it for screen, for stage? What would you want to do?
I think I'd take it for either, to be fairly honest. I'd love to be a researcher for stage. I'd love to be a researcher for screen. I think, obviously, it was while I was doing my dissertation, particularly because I was doing it on Ken Loach and because his films were very I suppose, political. It was kind of that thing where I thought to myself, right, I want to be part of films that actually send out proper messages to people.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to have a preference, it probably would be in TV or film where I'd be researching. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, because I can appreciate that loads of us have been job searching. There's just barely anything out there at the moment. So I think for us, obviously, we've just got to go for anything that is laid out on a plate for us. And this is the lucky thing that we've gone to a course that has given us so many transferable skills that we can take into virtually any job. Because I remember actually there was an article that I read the other day, actually, because it talked about all these graduates who thought, okay, I've finished this, I've graduated from this course. Employers are going to be looking at graduates who have finished these types of courses. And I feel like there's been a massive misconception of, people having to go into a industry that is related to their degree. I feel like there's a massive misconception among graduates that is the thing they have to go for.
Yeah.
In this article I was reading that that some people had applied for all these jobs. Someone had applied for over 100 jobs, 4 interviews, and eventually ended up working as a receptionist to start. But it just shows, I think that's more so relevant for our generation and our class of 2020 right now, that we should just be looking for any job that goes for it. It might not be the best job in the world. It might not be the job that we dream of. It might just be a job to us to start with, but that doesn't stop us looking for our dream job. So obviously my dream job is probably being a researcher for maybe BBC or ITV or something like that, or part of a film company, something like that. But at the moment, I'm just applying for jobs to get on that ladder and start earning some money. But yeah, Dan, I mean, I know you've applied for a postgrad course and you've got to make the decision by next week. How confident are you in almost, if you've had any offers and stuff like that? I'm presuming you have. Where's your head at right now in accepting one of those offers, or not even, or are you willing to defer a year because of the risk of a second wave, thinking that you go back in September in the new normal, as it were, only to then be back in a similar position where we were when we hit the midst of winter, where there could possibly be a second wave, but obviously we don't know at the moment.
I have to be honest, regardless of whether I think I'm going to get any of the offers from anyone, I am rather unconfident. I think going straight into from a very acting performance based course to going into a literal masters of music or a masters of composition or performance in music, it's going to be a massive shift. And I'm sure most people who are going for postgrad courses at places that are quite I want to say, like, I don't know, very reputable. I'm talking top level conservatoires and top level universities. Most offers are a 2-1, a first, and good qualifications already in music, whether that be grades 5 to 8 or like grades in reading and writing music and composition and things like that. A lot of this stuff goes towards your application, and I have to be honest, in terms of me, I'm unconfident because I've not properly done music apart from in a live setting since first year of college. That would have been 2016. And obviously, because I've trained in gig theatre at uni, that's going to be singing and live performance and things like that. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get me onto a masters of music course, if you get what I mean. So I await the offers. If I do get offers, I'll be exceptionally happy. But I have no idea whether you two might know, but I don't know when we properly find out what our final grade is for
the entire thing.
Yeah, like if we get first, or how do we graduate?
Mid-July. I've been told it is mid-July when we get our, final classifications back and all that kind of stuff. And well, apparently we stopped being students at the university nearly a month ago now. Which is scary because I'm going to lose all those uni days offers and stuff like that.
No, McDonald's.
McDonald's monopoly. But yeah, I mean, for you, Shannon, because you considered going in head first. I mean, I'm only guessing here, but was your mind kind of made up before third year started or before even university started that this was what you wanted to do? Was it a thing of, I want to get this BA honours course done, this undergrad course done, and then I'm going to push on into the acting industry and try and make it into it?
Yeah, that was always sort of on my mind. I still went to when they spoke about it to students, so like in case you wanted to do that, I did still go to it just in case maybe my mind changed and stuff, but it never did. Like I always had that in my thought just in case, but no, my mind was made up even before uni that I wanted to just get uni done, then I'll try my best to sort of get my head into it.
So now that we've left, so to speak, I suppose, how much have you been looking, for, I suppose, opportunities? Because I've seen a lot of things going around where some people are doing lockdown films, etc., etc. They're doing stuff like this. Have you been taking part in any of those kind of things, or you created your own material?
Originally, I was going to do a lockdown film with a few people, but unfortunately, because of some people's circumstances, that fell through. Which obviously I accepted, fair enough. And then I don't know, I kind of just got a bit stuck in a rut really during lockdown because I wanted to do all these things, and I absolutely enjoy acting, and I just felt like I was a bit stuck on what to do and things. So I did like little monologues to myself, and like tried out different accents because I'm not the greatest at accents, but some that I can do and some honestly I am terrible at, but it's something that I really wanted to learn and carry on learning, so I was doing that. I did end up posting just a random improvised monologue onto my Instagram.
Plug your Instagram, darling.
Plug it around. It's going out on iTunes.
And lost my thought now.
No, you were saying about an improvise. You do like improvise.
Oh yeah, I did that because obviously like most of us are, we are like really passionate in what we want to do, and I didn't want to stop doing that because of lockdown, and because I had it in my head like I don't want to get out of it, and I want to stay still in it. I want to still stay in it. So at the moment, I have all these random videos all stuck in my gallery, like just doing nothing. But I did a bit of practice. I keep trying. My friend Charlotte, I'll ring her saying, "Is this accent all right?"
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's fantastic. It's fine. We're finding new ways of getting our skills out there. I think the one thing I've realised after leaving is that everything that we do, everything that we think impresses us, needs to be out there. Yeah. Like if we something small, or I'm not sure. Shannon, did you write? Obviously, you improvised one of your monologues. What was your monologue about?
Honestly, it just came out of my head on Oscar. Sorry.
We have a dog on the show, everyone.
Our first dog.
Yay.
Honestly, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh, what can I do here? I'm just going to video myself and just say anything. Ended up just being some sort of I guess Game of Thronesy type thing. Like my friend said, "Oh, it's quite Game of Thronesy here." I was like, "Okay, fair enough," but I don't know. It just came out of my head and out my mouth. So
yeah, because I remember that you set up your own acting, Instagram, didn't you?
yes,
And that's where you posted it. And I actually saw that monologue, I think, and I've got to say, it was really, really good. It was really well done in the circumstances.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. But no, I thought it was very well done in the circumstances. But one thing that I've noticed during this lockdown is that the amount of creativity that has come out of everyone has just been absolutely and utterly astounding. I think particularly for me, while I was doing the Change theatre project, so to speak, I very much thought that there was my creativity had been unlocked a little bit. I searched for something a bit new and a bit more different, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you guys feel about that.
No, it just goes with what we were discussing before, that creatives always find a way. And I think, I don't know, adapting to circumstances is odd. But I agree with you. I think ever since we've been off and we've had a lot of time probably to ourselves, a lot more than usual, we've had a lot of thoughts and ideas and stuff being raised in our heads. And obviously with us being kind of by ourselves, we think we are our own critical eye, and we think, oh, you know what, that might be good enough to try. And some things that someone like me would have done, I look back on it and I go, that wasn't very good. But it's all trial and error, all of it. It's up to the sort of the perception of it and what people think, but also it's up to how you want to, sort of show off your skills and how you want people to see and go, oh, right, that's really clever. I really, really like that. Or they could give you some feedback and stuff like that. It's just up to, I don't know, it's up to how you feel on the day. You might come up with something like that. Loads of people do it. People come up with ideas for shows, for poems, for monologues, for plays. Just literally, Mary Shelley got the idea for Frankenstein in a dream. An opiate-used dream, no doubt, but a dream nonetheless. And that's obviously one of the biggest novels and things ever created. I don't know how you feel about that, Shannon. Obviously, with these improvised performances that you've done, the Game of Thronesy type stuff, is that what has been unlocked in your head? Is that what you want to do? Yeah, what I mean.
Is in this sort of genre, do you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, yeah, why not? 100%. I would absolutely love to be in something like medievally type vibe to it.
Fantasy stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't really?
No,
at least have a try of it, even if you don't want to. But that is something that I sort of would like to try, even if it's like a small role, even as an extra, something to just get into that. So like because I've always had that sort of in my head as well, I guess. I did like these like traditional weapons training, so with swords and things like that. I'm still learning, but obviously because of lockdown, I've not been able to carry it on at the moment. But like it's like adding extra skills onto your acting as well. So again, getting your hands into everything.
It's interesting actually, because you talk about background artists, and this is a thought that's popped into my head, which I think warrants a bit of discussion, because if obviously soaps are going back to filming and they're trying to do it at a 2 meter distance, particularly offset and stuff like that, I'm thinking to myself, is this the end of background artists as we know it, if that makes sense? Because I know there's a massive thing around, background artists and stuff like that and their usage. I wonder if we could kind of center the discussion a little bit on whether the background artist industry is now going to change, because loads of people do a lot of background artist stuff, and they go on and things, and it's how they kind of make their living. I've been a background artist myself, and I've seen how close these background artists do get, because I'm still friends with someone who I was a background artist with on Emmerdale. But at that point, you know, obviously I did that in March 2019 when none of this was going on, but there was no 2 meter distancing. That virtually wasn't possible in the scene that we were doing and the set that we were on. There wasn't any chance of that. So if the background artist industry is to continue, do we think that it's going to have to change, or will the background artist industry have to take a bit of a back step, and will soaps, etc., stop recruiting those background artists while we're in this situation?
Personally, I don't think that will become a problem after all this. I think it will settle down fine. Of course, if that's a chance that, you know, that would happen, then they'd find a way to still have these background artists in. They might not be half as much, but they will sort of find a way to do that. Whether it's if they want like a shot of the artist at the background, the extras in the background, and that being having barely anyone else on set, they'd probably do it that way. I reckon they definitely would find a way to still use them if that was the case anyway.
Yeah. I think with background artists, essays and things, they are cannon fodder, and they're there to fill a shot a lot of the time, especially if outside, a very, very intimate space, like whether that be like a school or things like that. So I agree, Jono, that it will be odd especially for the next 3 months, because obviously the filming cycle takes a lot longer than people think. Shannon, it takes a lot longer than people think. It will be how to create shots and how to do things all socially distanced. But I think it'll only take a few months hit. I think especially because the filming cycles have completely stopped had completely stopped now for the past few months for things like Coronation Street and stuff like that. So we will have to put up with, I say put up, it's not really a problem, but we will have to put up with a lot of blank spaces, a lot of sort of dead shots of only 2 people kind of very far apart. One thing I saw the other day was, I don't know if there's a show on BBC One, Doctors. It's something that people during the day. And
my old school teacher actually had a role in Doctors. I won't say her name on this for obvious reasons, but no, she was a long-serving character on that for a while, so that was
cool. That's awesome. But you'll know kind of the way it works, and that it's very sort of like a very like sort of conserved and small cast. Every episode you've got your main running character like that. Well, I caught an episode, I don't know if it was on Monday, but it was the first episode that was filmed entirely on Skype. And it was done kind of like, you know, like horror films like Unfriended and stuff like that are done, where basically you stick the overlay of Skype over shots of people talking to a camera. Because I tell you what, those cameras that they use and the pictures that they have of people are way too high budget for an actual Skype call. So they're filming it in that format. And if obviously that's what I'm guessing is, that is around the time that all of this started. So obviously it takes about 3 months to get like a chunk of episodes done, and they're filmed 3 months in advance. That's why you see a lot of stuff that's like supposed to be day to day in summer look like it's in the middle of winter, just because that's how long ago it's been. So obviously it's starting to catch up. Like this is when coronavirus probably started doing. So I don't know, maybe they have an excuse to do that, because obviously a lot of doctor's appointments and things I'm sure have been done over Skype and over phone. But how on earth do soaps adapt to that? You can't just chat, you know, you can't have into Norris on Coronation Street via Skype when they live just down the road. I don't know, it'll be weird. What do you think?
Well, I know that like Emmerdale, they're doing actual lockdown at the moment. So they're doing obviously the 2 people per house or whoever's in there, usually 2 people, which obviously it's a little bit at the minute, but you know, it is what it is. I think because my mum watches it all, and I come down sometimes and watch it myself. But I think Corey said that they're like all the older people won't be filmed for a while until it's all over with, and obviously they're cutting down the cast for now. And I think I don't know how they'll be able to do it through that way, but I mean, they've clearly got it sorted, so we'll soon see how Corey does it.
It's interesting because EastEnders did a thing, and I personally think that they didn't handle this particularly well, because EastEnders actually ran out of episodes. All of the episodes that they had in the can, they continued as normal and continued getting this whole schedule out, etc., etc. They got it. They've completely run out now, as far as I'm aware, and they had to put on specials because they just didn't have anything to show. They'd run out to the last point where they'd got to. But I look at there's Holby City, the kind of spin-off show of Casualty, which went on I think it was a 4 or 5 week break or something like that. They went on a 4 or 5 week break, so they extended that for about half of what the stringent lockdown was. Or even it was longer than that, because they've only released 2 more episodes since then, and they release one every single week. I know it's not the same as EastEnders, but I feel like if EastEnders were at a stage where on a, say, Friday, which is when they finished for the weekend, if they left it on that point and had a long break to the point where, right, we might be about to go back, let's now start all of these again. We might be a little bit behind, but it gets them out there and we can keep it going rather than running out of episodes and almost feeling pressured. That moment when, say, we're under pressure to finish something or get something out there, we sometimes make mistakes. I feel like EastEnders have put themselves under that pressure by, running out of episodes. So the first moment they go back and get something filmed, it's going to be rushed, it's going to be awful and stuff like that. And they're just going to send it out for the sake of sending something out.
Yeah,
please their fans. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think Shannon, you might have more to say on this, just from your own experience of doing stuff on sets and things. And obviously, I'm guessing we've all been supporting artists and extras at some point, just to sort of make money and see what it's like on sets and things like that. What do you think? What would you, if you, like, this might be very hypothetical, but if you were like running or directing or doing something or being an actor on set, how would you prefer it be done? Would you prefer it have like a hiatus and not do anything like Holby City did, or would you say just keep churning out episodes as much as you can until we run out, and then we just fill the dead air with specials until lockdown gets kind of it's more sort of relieving on lockdown and on the people partaking in it? What would you do? What would you do yourself?
Well, I guess it sort of depends on how they always sort of pulled out their episodes anyway. So Corey's always had like 2 half-an-hour episodes anyway, so they can drag that out for a while. They can do that. Whereas EastEnders is, as far as I'm aware, is less. They use like less episodes as, say, like Emmerdale and Corey do. So I mean, if it was, say, like Corey, where they had continuous episodes a lot during the week, then I'd drag them out like they do, like once or twice a week instead of, I think, like 4 times. I can't remember now. Yeah, sometimes they did it twice in the day, didn't they?
Yeah.
So why not drag that out for a while, like, because they can do. But I say, like, EastEnders, I guess it's finding a very creative way to maybe pull a story out of 1 or 2 characters, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be odd. I'd like to see how. I agree with that. I'd like to see how they adapt. With that more intimate setting. Like, obviously, is it Emmerdale or Coronation Street? I don't watch any of them anymore. But which one did you both say where they've kept it to 2 per household?
Yeah, Emmerdale.
Yeah, Emmerdale. Like, it's. I'd like to kind of. I might have to start watching it again, because I'd like to see how. Obviously, when the filming cycle's done and stuff, that might be quite interesting. Seeing like like a lot of people like two-hander plays and things like that. It might be nice seeing different scenarios in different houses that are obviously very family oriented and things like that, because a lot of the time everyone's interacting with everyone and there's an affair going on over here and someone's brought something over here and stuff like that, whatever topical issues are going on at the moment. But it might be kind of cool to see a more intimate side to soaps and things like that, because obviously we like seeing family scenarios and dynamics in the houses and things, but what happens if they turn that and like it's just, you know, but nobody can speak to each other about things, everyone's very isolated, and it kind of reflects the public's anxiety, I guess, at the moment. I don't think anybody's the same since lockdown started, and obviously soaps are there to reflect the public's do you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. You know, every single soap we've watched, there's been individual storylines, but we've seen snippets of those individual storylines being edged along. It's almost like in a race where each individual storyline only goes the smallest bit at a time. It's like they've only made like one jump in hopscotch or something like that, because they don't go very far. But, you know, if they have what they've done, you know, 2 people per household, if they had those individual storylines for the family specifically, that would be a very innovative. This is really going to annoy me. Innovative. That one.
Yeah.
That one. It's a very interesting way of doing it, and it's a very creative way of doing it to push on that family's individual storyline to a point where you see it develop more than normal. So this is potentially, like you say, Shannon, is a way for soaps to evolve in some way and think of a more creative way to present their shows.
I love how all of this, like as we've been talking and carrying on, we started obviously with like prospects for us ourselves, like that. I like how the conversation has grown to the bigger picture. I guess these are the industries that we're going to be trying to, or what we train to go into. And it's kind of cool to hear, like, obviously we've all done different things. Like obviously, Shannon, you've done more sort of media-based learning, and your education is more sort of towards screen acting and like sort of a set. And Jono, you've kind of found your way forward with sort of research and things like that. Obviously, yes, the cat is indeed out of the bag. You did an amazing dissertation on Ken Loach.
Thank you very much.
Do you do a dissertation in your third year?
Oh God, no.
Hey, I did one.
I didn't either.
No, I'm definitely more practical based. Writing for me, no. I gave like script writing a try in second year, but that didn't go too well. But
it was just
I gave
more,
it a try.
Yeah, it was just more the practical kind of. Thing that you enjoyed,
I made a short film, and that's when I always wanted to try a bit of directing, and you know, I just kind of went head straight in first with my directing in my PRP, which is obviously the equivalent for dissertation. I don't know if you've seen it or anything, but I showed it on Facebook and it was.
Oh, I think I remember. I think I remember seeing it. Yeah.
Which night of the week was yours? Oh, were you first week or second week of the PRPs? Obviously, for people who don't know, we did like a bunch of personal research projects, and they were like individual mini performances, whether that be with people or by yourselves. Stuff like that. And we had it was like a festival. It was like over 2 weeks. Was yours in like the first week or the second week?
I think it was the second week. But everyone that did filming, it was within a few days that we did it. So I think mine was like one of the last days that it was on.
How did that feel? How did that, like, was yours? I'm guessing was yours a performance, or was yours a piece of media? What was it?
A short film.
Short film, cool. How did that feel?
Yeah.
Seeing your work upon like with people watching, how did that feel?
I mean, it was scary because I'd never done directing before, and usually I'm in front of the camera, and obviously with only having 4 people per group, and not having this massive group with all these different ideas and help from people, it was very, very daunting. But it felt good, and I felt proud of it. Obviously there's some errors and things like that, like that's what you're going to get from someone that's not done an awful lot of behind the screen and things, but we got through a lot of things that went wrong, and we got through it, and seeing that look good in front of everyone, and knowing what went wrong and how you sort of overcame that as a group, it felt good.
Very good.
How, from your perspective, like, because I've heard a couple of people talk about this before, but when you first directed, obviously you've said that you enjoyed being in front of the camera more. I suppose in some way, being a director, you have less opportunity to affect change. You know what I mean? You can advise the actors on how you want them to do this, you want them to do that. How did it feel for you to be in, I suppose, in a less controlling position that you can try and affect that change yourself as an actress?
Yeah, I mean, obviously being an actor, you like you say, you've got more control on what you do as the character and things. And being in the director's position, it was, I mean, obviously you have this vision in your head and how it goes, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. But you've got to like trust in the actors to know what they're doing, because at the end of the day, they are actors. They will know what they're doing. It's just, I mean, obviously you can reshoot things that maybe you really didn't really like too much, or they said something in a way that you didn't envision. You can direct that, but it's how they sort of portray it. Again, obviously it was my first time for directing, and we had a very loving scene between 2 characters, and I mean, it was only a bit like a kiss and stuff, but I guess it's sort of, I mean, I could be completely wrong. I guess it's sort of different being like that on stage to camera, where everyone's literally staring, like working and staring at you through a camera and things like that. So I guess they probably felt, in a sense, more awkward, but they was very professional about it. They just went in, did it. I mean, there are some things I would have changed looking at it on that perspective anyway. I'm not saying that they did very bad or anything. They did good in what they did, but when I was looking back at it, I was thinking maybe I could have tried it this way, but it was also very time consuming as well. So I just I trusted them, just got on with it, and I got the end piece, which was, I'm proud of.
Did you enjoy having, like, obviously with having your vision, did you enjoy kind of leaving, obviously I'm guessing when you gave the script to the actors and they were sort of learning different bits, and obviously it's very different to a live performance when it's filmed and it's an actual short film. Did you enjoy giving up a bit of control to the actors? Did you enjoy sort of letting them kind of not toy with it, but letting them kind of portray it in a way that they could bring something different to the table? Did you enjoy kind of giving control? Because I know people who are very different to that, and are like, you must do it that way. And I'm not saying either way is right, because brilliant art comes from brilliant choices, but did you enjoy sort of giving up a bit of control?
I guess, because they'd have done it a different way, which I wouldn't have thought about, and it was nice to see it the way they did it. I mean, there were times where I just wanted to just jump in, do the acting myself, because obviously I'm an actor mainly. But that was the whole what's the word? It was, as a director, that's the whole target of trying to get your actors to do it the way you're envisioning, or in their own way, but the way you envisioned. You get what I mean? And after having this idea of the film in my head and the storyline and things, it was nice to see it come together. Not yourself doing it, I absolutely love myself doing it as well, but it was also nice to sort of see it play a part with you not involved in the storyline, if that makes sense. Obviously I was behind scene in the storyline, but in front of the camera it was nice to see it evolve that way.
Rather than making it come alive yourself as the actor
Yeah.
in front of the camera. Yeah. I can imagine that puts on a whole different and nice, exciting dimension to that, you know, watching something that you've thought of in your head, having that actually really come alive in front of you.
It was a very good experience.
It must have felt surreal as well, you know, seeing that on. I'm presuming it was filmed in the main theatre. It was screened in the main theatre, so seeing that on the big screen as well must have been a really surreal experience for you.
Yeah, it was a very proud moment.
That's
Of all the hard work that was and stress that was put into it, because I was helping, I was producing as well with my friend, and I won't do producing again. Let's just say that. Very, very stressful.
Was it a longer process than actually filming it?
Oh yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it, isn't there?
God.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. Dan, very nice to see you again.
Thank you, John.
As it is, as always, I must admit, I'm enjoying the new hat that you have on now.
Thank you, Jack Wills, I believe, £15.
Very nice.
I just plug Jack Wills' designers.
A bit of product placement there, I must admit. But Shannon, thank you very much for coming on at very short notice.
Well, Jono, let's
You've been fantastic. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And thanks for the feature of your dog as well. I mean, that was very nice. Oscar, that was very, very nice. Our first dog on the show. If lucky, he'll be a mascot. He'll be a mascot someday.
Yeah.
Well, hey. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching it on YouTube, please subscribe on iTunes and SoundCloud and Spotify as well. There are so many places you can watch this. Please stay up to date on our social media channels and stuff like that. Please follow Dan's Instagram for more music covers.
Dan Healiss. Yes. Shannon, plug your Instagram, darling. Plug your Instagram.
And please follow Shannon's, which is...
one of them, not the acting one. I can't remember the acting one, but...
Sorry, we'll put
the _fallen_angel343.
Hey, anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening. We will see you again very, very soon. Until then, stay safe and have a sweet-delicious week. Yes, sweet-delicious is a word now. It's actually a word. See you guys. Thank you very much.